Oh, it's windy. So windy. Okay. Okay, next is, you can kind of do this part in any order, is we're gonna take yet another chunk of soil. And I just like scoop off the very top part. And we're looking to get about that much. Maybe a little more. Get a little more. Actually, tell you what. We'll get a little bit from a few places. But what I'm doing here is I'm gonna get a sample of the soil's texture. That's its makeup. That's like, you know, basically the balance of clay and silt and sand. Let's see. Let's go all the way up to the front. That looks nice. I'm trying not to step on any rows if I don't have to from here on out, because they are set. Look at that. Weeds already starting. Anyway. That'll work. Okay, this is plenty actually. Oh, somebody just got bread. Geese make this very specific sound when they mate. You know what you're looking for. Spring is definitely here. Oh yeah. So, here's the steps. I've got a feed trough full of dirt. Mostly clay clods. I'm chipping it all up. Okay. Get yourself a ball jar. Bonus points if it says raw goat milk. And then, you also want a fancy strainer. This is pretty important. All right, so what we're doing here is we want to get these broken up, because the clods, like the little clumps, will actually change your outcome, right? So you want to get it all broken up. Also, like big things like sticks or whatever, you know, you don't need. So there are some soil tests that'll do this for you, but you know, they'll give you, the graph is like a triangle, or you know, and it'll put you on, it's like a 3-axis. Oh, this is gonna take a long time. Looks good, huh? Okay, so we got about halfway filled. The reason you want a lot of sand in here, or the reason you want a lot of material, not just like a little bit, is that the more you have, the easier it is for you to measure, because we're going to use a ruler. And so you don't want to be down like, okay, I think that's 8 millimeters, but I'm not sure. You know, you want to give yourself some, you know, give yourself some grace. Okay, so you got your dirt. The last ingredient is cocaine. Actually, it's dishwashing powder. It's like a tablespoon. This is important because it's a surfactant. It will help. It'll help like bind to the water so that things will release. That's why that's important. And then after that, we're gonna fill the water all the way up almost to the top. Do I have any water? Let's play a game. How do you know when you have a lot of clay in your soil? When you can just pour it into a jar loose and the water sits on top. All right, let the dishwashing detergent do its work. Now we're going to shake this vigorously for 2 minutes. Do not skimp on this. While you're doing this, you can check your barbecue. Okay. Okay, now, keep an eye on this because we're gonna watch it settle. You can see it is already settling. After 2 minutes, you're gonna see a visible line. Looks like it's gonna be about right here, but after 2 minutes, you're gonna see a visible line. Go ahead and make a mark of that line with a Sharpie. That's your sand. After 2 hours, you're gonna make another mark. That's gonna be your silt. And then after 2 days, make a third line. That's gonna be your clay. 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days. The reason we use a big old bottle like this, I'm gonna do like sand, silt, clay, and then write the date here. That way I can do this one, sand, silt, clay, and write the date here next year. So you'll get, you know, I guess if you do the sides, you could probably get 8 years out of this, which would be more than enough. But this will, we only add a little bit every year. And so this will show you your year, you know, here was 22, here's 23, here's 24. And it'll show you your progression as you're changing the actual texture of the soil. Okay, 2 minutes later, pardon my busy table, you can see your sand line. So it's actually a little easier to see in the shade. All right, so why do we only wait 2 minutes? Why not just wait 2 days and just cut all 3 lines? And that is because, my friend, after 2 minutes, the silt is going to sink down into the sand. And so you're going to lose your silt and everything will look like sand. Right, same thing with clay, although I'm not really worried about losing clay. I'm gonna put a line about right there and put 22. Does that look right? Looks right to me. Maybe a smidge high, but nah, it's fine. Okay, and then at 8 o'clock, I'll check it. There'll probably be a little layer here. We don't have a lot of silt, so, but we'll see. Maybe not. Check it at 8. Okay, it's been a few days. I wanted to show you the soil test, how I do it. Let's see if that's coming through. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so I've got a couple of lines here. First, this is the year 2022. I got a first line, that's for sand. So all this here is the sand volume. This second line is silt. And this top line up here, I'm not sure if you can see it, is clay. Now, if you recall, like, we didn't put this much material in here, but it was super dry and packed. You know, I had to chip it. And so that's like the hydrated volume of how much that expands, which I think is pretty neat. Hey, Kitty, coming to join us. All right, so I have a worksheet that I'll show you in just a second, but the basic principle of it is like this number is the total amount of soil in this volume, and you're gonna like find the ratios of this, right? So this is, you know, probably what, I don't know, 30% sand and 15% silt and whatever percent clay. Looks like clay's slightly more than sand, maybe even. And then you're gonna, you know, you're gonna make some judgment calls on this. And, you know, so what are we gonna do with that information? Well, the first thing is if like your soil had no sand in it, you know, like let's say you live in Austin and you're basically in like, you know, or whatever. Let's say you live in a place that's all clay. You're actually gonna add sand to your garden and mix it in. Same things with if you have, you know, if you live in a sand pit, you're gonna add clay, right? And it doesn't really matter what you add. There's all sorts of different abstractions there, but all these are going to affect your they call it the soil texture. This is actually better than I thought it was going to be. So I know that this is also a sample of about, you know, 3 to 4 inches underground, and below that it is, you know, this clay percentage would grow dramatically. The clay and silt would grow dramatically. And so I'm actually not going to add a lot of sand to it. I'm just gonna stir the soil over a few years and see what it's like, if that makes sense. I was expecting clay to be really big, but I think what this is telling me is the topsoil I have in that garden is actually pretty good. And I'll, when we go through the worksheet, I'll kind of show you the values for it. One final thing to note is that if you can see, right at the top here is a little dark line. That's the organic matter, of which there is almost none. I think this was back in the report card from the soil company, the soil sample, and it was like 1%. So I definitely want to be increasing that, but you have to be careful. Soil is about balance, and more is not always more. I'll give you an example. When I was in San Antonio, I basically built a soil that was almost entirely compost, of various kinds. A lot of leaf matter, a lot of like chip stuff that I would mix with grass clippings, and like super lasagna garden stuff. But like to an insane degree, And the organic matter in that soil was like, it was like 28%, which is too high. At that point, you end up with like, it's very difficult to balance things, because like, you're just gonna have way too much of one element over another. And what that creates is a situation where specific weeds will thrive beyond your ability to control them, and some plants cannot grow. Like a fair amount of plants cannot grow. You'll be like, man, I just can't get onions to grow. And you talk about other people and they can, like, you could grow onions on the moon, And that's why, right? Because soil chemistry is all out of whack. And so it's really important, and we'll show you in the workshop how to take Kinsey Ag data and put it into a sheet to kind of figure out what you need to do.